3 concepts. Once you have these, the rest of RBAC is mechanics. Permissions are atoms. Tiny capabilities, incident.create, timeentry.approve, member.edit. There are about 65 logical permissions. Roles bundle permissions. Dispatcher is a bundle. Org admin is a bundle. You don't grant permissions one at a time, you grant a role. Grants assign roles to users. With scope, where does this role apply? With expiry, how long? With a reason. That's the model. Now, we'll walk it. Legacy TicketsCAD had a single number per user. User.level. 0 through 8. Every dispatcher in the system shared one of 9 permission profiles. No customization. Real organizations have shapes that don't fit 9 boxes. You want a role that can dispatch but not delete incidents. A role that can edit member contact info but not medical info. A volunteer who covers another shift for 1 week. RBAC v2 supports all of this. Custom roles. Field masks coming in a future phase. Scopes per grant. Flitza, expiry per grant. The legacy level field is still there for backwards compatibility, but the real authorization is the grants. 7 default roles ship with TicketsCAD. We'll click each one. Super admin. Has the eyes super flag? Bypasses every permission check. The site owner. Use sparingly, 1 or 2 people max. Admin. Almost everything except action.manage, config, and action.manage roles. Per org administrators. They can manage members, incidents, schedules, but not the system itself or other orgs' role catalogs. Dispatcher. Full operational access. No delete incident, no role management, no system config, no bulk import. The person at the radio answering calls. Operator. Generic privileged user. Add notes, change unit status, send chat, dispatch units, sign up for shifts. Most volunteers fall here. Read only. View screens, view widgets, see basic field info, caller name, address, notes. No rights. Default for new users. Field unit. Mobile shaped. Dashboard, incident detail, scheduling, status updates, photo upload. For tablets and phones in the field. And the 7th, Internal Auditor. This one reads everything and reaches the audit log but holds no write permissions at all. It's the role you hand to a compliance reviewer or an oversight board member who must see the whole picture without ever changing a record. Quick scroll. About 65 logical permissions, though you'll see roughly 130 rows in the table because each permission also has a canonical alias row. More on that in a second. 4 categories. Screen, visibility of pages. Widget, visibility of dashboard widgets. Action, verbs you can perform. And field, which fields on a record you can see. Field permissions hide or show specific fields on records. Sensitive medical info, full address detail, contact info. Today these are read-only masks. A future phase adds write masks. That's why the row count looks high. The v2 migration auto generates a canonical resource.verb alias for each category code. Both forms work, RBAC checks accept either, and the alias resolver bridges old and new. So 65 capabilities, about 130 rows. Scopes decide where a role applies. 5 kinds. Global. Applies everywhere, no context. Reserved for superadmin and platform roles. OGA, yeah. Applies only when the user's active org matches the grant's org id. The right scope for an org admin who runs org A but shouldn't see org B. Team. The grant fires only when acting on entities owned by the named team. Useful for team leader roles. Self. The grant fires only when the resource being accessed is owned by the actor. The right scope for edit your own time entry, not anyone else's. Delegate. A temporary copy of someone else's authority. Hat goes on call from June 1st to 8th. You grant Sam Pat's role with delegate scope, scope-eyed Pat, expiry June 8th. Sam acts as Pat for that week. Every grant can have an expiry. Set it on the modal. Date time picker. Use cases. On-call coverage. Training periods. Investigations. The grant disappears from authorization checks the moment the deadline passes. Security-wise, you're protected instantly. A nightly cron, schedule once and forget, physically deletes the expired rows and writes audit log entries. Keeps the table tidy. Module 16 covers the cron schedule. This is the part that might surprise you. You can't grant a role you don't already hold. Server side. The UI may show every role, but the API rejects. Try to grant superadmin from an org admin account. Denied. Try to grant org admin from a dispatcher account. Denied. The grantor must hold every permission the target role grants and hold action.manage roles. Why? Without this guard, any admin could escalate to super by granting themselves the role. With the guard, escalation is impossible by definition. Denied attempts are logged. If someone tries repeatedly, you'll see it. Now, the part that matters most. Enforcement is real, and we will prove it live. We will log out of the admin account and sign in as a limited user named DriverTest. This account holds a deliberately limited role. Look at the dashboard. Strict down. That limited role grants only a handful of widget permissions, so DashCAN hides every widget this user is not allowed to see. No statistics, no comms panel, just the essentials. Now watch what happens when this user tries to reach a gated page, new incident. The dispatch screen. DriverTest doesn't hold screen.newIncident. Access denied. That's RBAC requires screen doing its job. The page checked the permission before rendering a single field and served the themed denial card instead. This isn't a hidden menu item, it's a hard server-side gate. Type the URL directly and you still hit the wall. Back in the admin account, every grant, revoke, and expiry is logged. Scroll to the audit trail section right here on the roles and permissions page. Filter by user, by activity, grant, revoke, or expire, and by date range. Filter activity to grant, and you'll see real grant history populate the table. The rows aren't clickable. Each one shows its details inline, right in the last column. Who, what, scope, expiry, reason, and grantor, all on the row. And there's a CSV export for compliance. A recap. Permissions are atoms, about 65 of them. Roles bundle them. Grants assign roles to users with scope and expiry. 7 default roles including the read-only Internal Auditor. 5 scopes. Privilege-escalation guard. Live enforcement, denied screens and limited dashboards. And an audit trail. Up next, Module 13. Building your own roles. The Matrix UI. Avoiding common pitfalls. See you there!